Hey, what's going on? So if you've watched this channel before, you know I do a lot of Dollar Tree DVD Blu-ray hunting videos. And once I pick up a bunch, I watch them. And today I'm gonna review 33 of the DVDs and Blu-rays that I picked up. So these aren't all-time favorite Dollar Tree finds, just ones I've watched over the last month or so. And it's solely based on how much I enjoyed the movie, not how rare of a movie it is to find at Dollar Tree or not. And I'm going in order of the ones I like the least to the best. So my least favorite one was Skrull, starring Daisy Ridley from Star Wars. This was only released in the United States because Daisy Ridley became famous for Star Wars. It's not a good movie at all. I can't really be too harsh on it though, because it seems like it's made by high school students. And it was just like confusing. I didn't really know what was going on. Not a good horror movie. There weren't really good kills or anything like that. So avoid this one, Skrull.
Welcome to the fair.
So this is gonna be a little controversial, but my second least favorite one was the Super Mario Bros. Koopa Chronicles DVD. This is a very bad cartoon. I realize a lot of people have nostalgia for it. It's just not well made, it's not well written. And this one has, what, it has 7 episodes or so. And I did not enjoy them. I do enjoy the Legend of Zelda cartoon, so watch that one instead if you have the chance. Also in this, they cut out the wrestler, what's his name, Lou Albano. He's not in the opening credits, and he was like the best part of watching this show. So yes, I did not like Koopa Chronicles very much at all. So my third least favorite, this also might upset some people, but I was not a fan of Crying Wolf. This is an uncorked DVD, and it's very, very generic. The lead actor in it has a dubbed voice. It's just not very good. There's scenes playing where it's like, oh, is this a comedy? I think it is, because they're playing wacky music, but nothing funny is happening. There are some good kills to this movie though, so if you're a die-hard werewolf fan, you might like this. Like I said, it's uncorked, and uncorked is good at making bad movies look good by the DVD cover. But as I said, avoid this movie. Next on the list is Zolar. I had high hopes for this one, thinking it would be like the ultimate cheesy movie, and it would be like hilarious for that reason, but it was just overall boring. They had some okay skateboarding in it. I guess that was the best part. Overall, a big disappointment. And the movie is for like 5-year-olds, but it's still confusing to follow the plot. Like, I didn't know what was going on. It ends in a cliffhanger. Not that I care. I didn't need resolution to the story, but yeah. Zolar, I hyped it in my last video and I apologize for that. It's a big stinker. Next on the list, Zombie Massacre 2, Reich of the Dead. So obviously this isn't gonna be some high art or something, but yeah, it's just not good. The zombies in this movie are good. The makeup looks pretty good, but it's just really slow. It takes a half hour for there even to be zombies, and then another half hour after that for more zombies. And it's a sequel, so they should have already established that zombies exist, and they should have them just throughout the whole movie. A lot of zombie movies, they try to be too complicated also. Like, as far as I'm concerned, just rip off Night of the Living Dead and I'll be happy. The zombies do look cool, but not a good movie. Still not a complete waste of time. If you're really into horror, you might get a kick out of this one. So next on the list is Islands of the Stream. And I do kind of consider this one a waste of time because it's only 39 minutes. It's surfing footage. It's not even a movie at that length. How could it be a movie? But there's other surfing documentaries that I reviewed in previous videos, and those actually have a narrative of some sorts. This is just guys sitting around like, yeah, we caught some big waves that day. And then it shows the surfing footage. And while, you know, watching surfers is fine, it's not a movie at all. So that's why this is so low on the list. Islands in the Stream. I only paid a penny for this because there was some type of glitch, I guess, in the computer system. So that was pretty cool. Next up is The Jolly Boys, starring these two guys and Sacha Baron Cohen. Another movie that wouldn't have come out in the United States if one of the actors didn't become famous. You got Sacha Baron Cohen, aka Borat, right there. This is very misleading. It says when friends Vinny, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Spider decide to leave behind the party scene for their girlfriends. No, Sacha Baron Cohen's character is in this for 10 minutes, and it really has no impact on the plot or not. This movie's kind of funny, and what's interesting about these is that you watch it and you're like, oh, wow, maybe I could make a movie myself. So yeah, this was okay, but I wouldn't really recommend it. The Scent of Rain and Lightning. I thought this was going to be a Western, and it's like a modern Western. The problem with this movie is it was confusing. It's about this girl who her parents are murdered, and then the guy gets out of prison, but then she discovers that, like, hey, this guy might not have actually killed my parents, and she's kind of dealing with that. But they would constantly be doing like flashbacks and stuff, and it was just confusing. I wasn't that into this movie. This next one, American Violence. For a movie called American Violence, there's not really much violence at all. It takes itself way too serious. This movie was okay, but I don't really recommend this one either. It's kind of funny that Rob Gronkowski from the Patriots is in this. High Rise. I had high hopes for this movie. It was a little boring. It's about people trapped in like a luxury high-rise, and then things all go to crap, and it becomes like apocalyptic style. But I'm pretty sure they could just leave the high-rise at any point. But just a little boring. So this is somewhere in the middle of the list. Some people might like this. I just wasn't that into it. We got The Godfather of Green Bay. Now this is one I didn't show in my Dollar Tree videos because I picked this up just last week. I was in a store, but I wasn't recording, and I saw this, and what really popped out was, you know, the guy with the mullet on the cover there, and then also Mark Borchardt. He's in the documentary American Movie, which is one of my favorite movies. It's about a guy trying to make a horror movie, and it's just really awesome. He's really like down on his luck, but he's like a charming type guy. He basically plays himself in this, like he does with all his cameos. He's just playing himself. Also, Tom Lennon is in this from Reno 911, and he's the best part of the movie by far. This movie is about a guy living in Los Angeles, has to go to Green Bay because he thinks that he's going to be able to audition for a guy who books Jay Leno. So Tom Lennon plays like his opening act, and he starts off, he's really like hacky, but then he turns into like a really edgy comic. And someone should just edit this so it's just Tom Lennon scenes, and it's just 20 minutes long, and it'd be much better. So this movie wasn't good. The main actors showed no signs of ever being funny, but Tom Lennon steals the show and his scenes are awesome. So we got Harm's Way. At first this movie seems like it has big plot holes, almost as big as these pumpkins right here. But the things do get cleared up by the end. The problem though is the script for this is really bad. A mom and daughter on the run, and they go live with this woman who like takes care of battered women. And then she becomes nutty and tries to kill them. So the basic message is, oh, if you're a battered woman, you know, someone's gonna kill you no matter what, even the people you trust the most. So yeah, it's just a kind of a weird message. And then the ending is like really stupid. Skip ahead 20 seconds if you don't want to hear what it is, if you don't want this movie being ruined. But it turns out that the girl killed their dad, and that's why they're on the run. And then the mom is like chained up by this woman, And the daughter is like just fed up with her mom being weak and leaves her there and just, bye mom, I'm gonna let you die. Very stupid. But besides all that, the movie itself was okay. Like, seemed like a thriller made for the Lifetime network. Dark Light. This movie wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It's about like aliens come down and invade, and this woman has to fight them off. At times this seemed like a real movie, and then other times this seemed like made for Sci-Fi Channel, like straight-to-video movie. Some of the actors are good, and some of the actors are really bad. I know this isn't really fair to say, but there's a young girl in this who's a really bad actress. But overall, it was pretty entertaining. The monsters look good, and like, you know, yeah, if you like that type of movie, it's not too bad. I do want to point this out though. I hate how DVD cases have that little like section knocked out of it. Like, that saves the environment, having those pieces not be in there. This is a very flimsy case. It feels like I could bend it right in half. It also bothers me how these cheap DVD cases, they smell like a go-kart tire. Antrum, the deadliest film ever made. This books itself as a real lost, cursed film. And all the people who watched it, they died. So of course that's not true, because it's just a movie that they sell at the Dollar Tree. You don't die when you watch it. Although that seemed to upset some reviewers on IMDb that they lived through it. But yeah, so this was not bad. So the first 15 minutes is just like it's a fake documentary explaining how it's this lost film never seen until now, except for by a few people who died like while watching it. And then it goes into the movie, and the movie is like 70s style. It's grainy. The movie itself is a little slow, but I kind of like those slow atmospheric horror movies sometimes. And it was pretty entertaining, and it was creepy at times too. So this wasn't that bad. By no means great and an obvious gimmick, but I do appreciate a movie like this. The premise is kind of funny that it's like, oh, it's a cursed movie when movies are fake. Like, how can it be cursed if it's based on just something fake people doing? Like, I could see if it's a cursed snuff film, or if you're filming like you know, a serial killer at the electric chair. But when people are just acting, how does that become cursed? I think it's because there's a lot of these pentagram type things in the movie. That's what they say at the end. That's why it's a cursed film. Or if that was the case, wouldn't every metalhead's notebook be also cursed? So this movie right here, Winter Kills. Very surprised to find this at the Dollar Tree. Jeff Bridges, Anthony Perkins. This was a very well-made movie, but it's just kind of not the movie that I like. I'm not into like spy espionage, like government conspiracy movies that much. This calls itself a black comedy. I guess that sometimes it's humorous, but I wasn't really laughing or anything. This is out of print. It's Anchor Bay. Kind of wish I didn't open it, but yeah. First Love. This was pretty good. It had okay action. It looked nice. It was actually really funny. Problem is, it was just kind of confusing at points, and that's why it's in the middle of the list. There's some sheeps with hoods. I hope they're not racist or something. Genesis Live, 1980, German DVD. This was a really cool find. I'm not sure if any other people found this at the Dollar Tree. I'm glad I did. It is from 1980, which is kind of before I think Genesis hit their peak. This might sound lame to some people, but I think Genesis hit their peak in the mid-80s. My favorite Genesis song being No Son of Mine. Now this is over 2 hours long. It could be a little shorter. I do like progressive rock, but I like bands like Rush and Yes more than I like Genesis, which I feel is just a little too soft. Not those other bands I listed are heavy or anything, but they do get heavy at times, where Genesis is always kind of just soft rock. We have the Iceman, released by Echo Bridge of all companies. Finally an Echo Bridge one. that was worth buying. This movie is good, it's not great. What keeps it from being great is it takes itself just a little bit too serious. I'd rather watch something like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer if I'm gonna watch a movie like this. It was still really good though, and I enjoyed it. Definitely worth a buck. You got James Franco on the cover. Kind of funny, he's only in this movie for 2 minutes. But yeah, I enjoyed the Iceman. The Losers RocknRolla double feature DVD set. This was a really good deal. I got this months ago, but put off watching it. I enjoyed The Losers more than RocknRolla, but I'm rating this as just one single DVD purchase, but 2 different movies. The Losers is based on a comic book. You wouldn't really know it just by watching the movie. It's not so over the top, not more than most other action movies. RocknRolla, Guy Ritchie, kind of just takes itself too serious. I'm not really into Guy Ritchie that much. I did see his new movie, I forget the name of it, with Jason Statham. Not that that narrows it down. Jason Statham's probably in most of his movies. But yeah, Guy Ritchie can be okay. I wasn't really into RocknRolla. Slow, only talking, not much action. Next up is Good Neighbors, and like a Good Neighbors, it's fun to spend time with. I enjoyed this movie. It started off really good and got a little bit boring towards the end. So I thought I was gonna like it more than I actually did. But I did enjoy myself. There's twists in this movie that are obvious right from the start, but I guess that's deliberate. They're not trying to trick you. You know, Good Neighbors for a buck. Check it out. The Life Changer. This could have been awesome, but as it is, it's just pretty good. There's some really good special effects in this. The problem is it focuses on a love story in the movie, like a little bit too much. It's like a demented and sick love story, but still, it's kind of just like that part of the movie is slow paced. When he's actually changing into other people, it's really cool. For some reason, after he changes bodies, like the other body is just a husk, and he has to do this like every 12 hours or so. It used to be he could do it like every couple years, but now he has to do it every few hours, and then he has to burn the bodies, but like he can just change from person to person to person. Why does he have to burn the bodies? It's never gonna come back to him. So yeah, Life Changer. Could have been a cult classic if this script was just a little bit better, but as it is, worth watching. Next up is Officer Down. Now this is one I've been seeing at Dollar Trees for a while, but I just didn't think it looked that good. But Mike over at Sega CD Universe, he seemed to really be into this one, or at least somewhat into it, so I decided to give it a chance. So some good mindless fun here as like a more silly, maybe RoboCop or Maniac Cop, something like that. You got nuns with shotguns. You got this guy, he's crazy. I recommend Officer Down. We've made it to the top 10. Solo, a Star Wars story. You're thinking, Solo, a Star Wars story? That's only number 10? So yes, this is a great find for the Dollar Tree, but I'm basing this off of just how much I enjoyed the movie itself. And I saw this in the theater 3 years ago, so when I rewatched it, I wasn't 100% invested because I already had a good idea of what the story was. 3 years is enough time to pass, so I'm kind of foggy on what exactly happens. But yeah, I did enjoy myself though. I think this is an underrated Star Wars movie. I like how it doesn't take itself that serious, and I do think it's a good bridge between regular Star Wars, and then that led to like, you had this and then The Mandalorian. And I think Mandalorian is like the best Star Wars thing ever. And Solo ain't too shabby itself. The Debt Collector, number 9. This is just like a solid B-level action movie. Scott Adkins is in it. This guy right here, he's kind of like a poor man's Mickey Rourke, but he does a good job. Very simple plot. Scott Adkins here needs money to save his karate dojo. So he takes the job of a debt collector. And yeah, there's good action, and they have good chemistry, and it's amusing. I enjoyed The Debt Collector. Recommend it. Welcome to the Jungle. Jean-Claude Van Damme. I enjoyed myself. I laughed at his role. There were other funny people in this too. I laughed hard at parts. Other parts were a little bit boring, but overall I enjoyed my time with this movie, and I do recommend this. So we go from Jean-Claude's goofiest role to his most serious role, JCVD. I have seen this before, but it was 13 years ago, so forget a lot about it. And I watched it, and I liked it. I do feel that it's a tad bit overrated. Some people say it's by far his best movie, which I don't agree with. I'd rather just watch his like standard 90s movies. My favorite being one called Lionheart. It's basically has the same plot of a video game. He fights people for money. Like at one point he's fighting in a pool. So yeah, it's not Shakespeare or anything, but I do love me some Lionheart. Bloodsport. JCVD ain't bad. It's kind of a weird movie. He plays himself, and the movie also breaks like the fourth wall. He talks to the camera at points. Yeah, but I do recommend JCVD, especially if you find it for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Buy this movie. It does have a really cool opening scene, all done in one shot. It's like 10 minutes long. Big, huge action sequence. Very cool. Number 6 on the list, Spider-Man. The reason this is only number 6 is because I've seen it 5 times already. So I'm basing it off of me watching it again for the 6th time. I do really like this movie. I've said this before, but it's funny how it has the 1 on it, Spider-Man 1. But I think this was part of a Blu-ray box set, and somehow it got loose. I found this multiple times though. And my rewatch of this, I enjoyed myself. It's really awesome up until, spoiler alert for a 50-year-old story, when Uncle Ben dies and then he starts fighting the Green Goblin, it kind of gets a little bit slow and silly. But up until that point when he's discovering his powers and stuff, I like this movie a lot. That's why it's number 6, Spider-Man. We're in the top 5. Number 5 is Talk Radio. I enjoyed this movie a lot. Now from the cover, I expected something a little bit different. He kind of looks like Howard Stern. I thought it was going to be just about like a shock jock saying outrageous like sexual things, but it's more like political based, and it's actually not based on Howard Stern at all. It's based on another shock jock radio host. And surprisingly, like I said, this isn't like a risque comedy. It's a thriller. It is very well made, and I enjoyed this one a lot. Talk Radio. Next up is Braven. This is just a solid action movie. I'm not sure if it even got a theatrical release, but it's just well done. Generic plot. He has the bad guy's drugs and they're trying to get him back and they're trying to kill him. But it's just really well made and a fun time. That scared me right there. So the Dollar Tree movie I enjoyed the 3rd most over the last month is The Eyes of My Mother. I knew I would like this one. In fact, I knew I would like it so much I bought 2 copies. It's a black and white horror movie. Really well made. The only criticism I have is that it's too short, and usually I never say that, but this one kind of just ends abruptly. It's only like maybe 87 minutes or so. No, 76 minutes. Sometimes that's fine. This one could have used a little bit more before they went home with it, but still a really good time. It's creepy, it's atmospheric. Definitely recommend The Eyes of My Mother. You might be wondering why I'm not going on the rides, and it's because they're too expensive. Look at that, 38 credits. And you can see here, 33 credits cost $5. So you would have to spend $10 in order to go on that ride, and then you'd have leftover credits, which aren't enough to ride anything. So for that much money, $10 or whatever, I could buy 10 Dollar Tree DVDs and have a half a day's worth of entertainment instead of just 4 minutes worth of entertainment. Anyways, enough of me trying to justify being a cheapskate. Number 2 on the list, Hidden. This movie was awesome. It started off, I was very skeptical. I thought it would be one of these movies where nothing happens and you're just left disappointed. There's a movie called It Comes at Night, which is a perfect example of that. So the movie It Comes at Night, spoiler alert, nothing comes at night. It's just like psychological, like in the guy's head the whole time. So this isn't that. It has a twist ending, and it's one of the best twist endings I've seen in a long time. I'm not gonna give it away. Definitely hunt this down. Even if you can't find it at Dollar Tree, go out and get it anyways. It's probably $6 on eBay with free shipping. So track this one down. My number 1 favorite Dollar Tree movie that I've watched in the past month is, drumroll, Deseirto. This was really good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan here. He hunts down illegals crossing the border. He's a horrible guy, obviously, but it has very good suspense. It's a good thriller. Very well made. Definitely recommend this movie. I had a lot of fun with this. This guy was good. Gael Garcia Bernal, I guess his name is. Kind of hard to pronounce. So again, this is one you're gonna want to track down, even if you can't find it at your local Dollar Tree. It was only at one location, so it does seem kind of hard to find. But yeah, probably under $10 on eBay or Amazon or whatever. Well worth your time. So that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. I'm always doing Dollar Tree stuff. I just started doing thrift stores. I think I'm gonna do more of that. I do host the videos for the Flea Market Falcon, the guy who looks exactly like me, except for he's half falcon, half human. He switches in between. He's not me. I don't know why people are confused about this, but yeah. Also have other videos like theme park videos and stuff where you don't have to pay per ride, so I actually go on the rides. But that's it for today. See you next time. Bye. I'm at Moe's Southwest Grill, which is pretty good, but their hot sauces are lacking. So what you need to do is sneak in your own from Taco Bell. Shh, don't